Hello, my name is Sharon Foehner. I moved to St. Louis when I was 27 years old. I have been playing the bass since 1969. I started playing the guitar in 1977. Um, I started playing with James Crutchfield here in town in 1989. I played the bass for him for 11 years. And I had a great time with him. He's a great fellow. I started playing the bass with Benny Smith in 1993. I played with him till 2003, and that was another great experience. We traveled all around the world. Right now, I'm playing with the Foehners, with my husband, Doug Foehner, and myself, and Rough Grooves with Rich McDonough and Eric McSpadden. Sometimes I play with Rich McDonough and the Rhythm Renegades. We started doing that in 1991, playing country blues and things of that nature. I've been in St. Louis since 87. It's my home. Benny Smith was a great mentor. He had certain ideas about music and discipline, and they helped make me a better musician. He was adamant about playing with a metronome, but he didn't have a metronome. I had a keyboard with a drum machine on it. And when we didn't have a drummer, he simply used the keyboard with a drum machine. He'd plug it into an amplifier, and we'd practice along with that. And in that sense, he improved my timing and helped me understand how parts fit together with symmetry. So that was a big lesson, especially for a bassist. Really just improved my whole musical mindset from that, really. And it helped me have some discipline, and I still play with a metronome today. It's been 50 years, and I still advocate playing with one. I'm a fan of acoustic guitar. I love listening to electric guitar, don't get me wrong, but acoustic guitar is really where I feel the energy and the sincerity in blues music. It was Joel Slotnikoff that actually introduced Benny to my husband and myself, and they didn't want to pay Darius Montgomery to go overseas with him. They didn't want to pay him the full amount that he was really due. And I didn't know it at the time, but so they asked me to go on a trip overseas with them. It's '93, and and I went. You know, it was only like a weekend type of thing, maybe 4 or 5 days. But I went to Utrecht, to Holland, and it changed my life. Nowadays you have YouTube and various things like that, but back in the day, all you had was a record player, and if you wanted to go over something, you'd have to pick the needle up and go back over it. It took a lot more energy and a lot more focus back in the day. And I think it was a lot harder because you'd have to actually put your energy into it. And now all you have to do is just type in something on a computer or a keyboard, and there you have the music right in front of you. Well, back in the day, you'd have to get a tape or a record player or whatever what was at your disposal, and actually seek out the music and seek out the phrase that you wanted. And that could take hours sometimes. I started playing in 1969, September of 1969, because a young white girl named Karen King told me that playing classical music is not something that black people do. And when she told me that was something I couldn't do, that's exactly what I wanted. The bass was the first instrument I picked up. I didn't start playing the guitar until 1977. but the bass I played in 1969. It used to be a cultural exchange, really, because you'd have white people from the suburbs come, you'd have some black people come, and it would be like it was a cultural exchange because you were hearing music from the 40s and 50s and 60s that they would normally encounter in their, everyday life. And I thought that the energy from the music brought them back, a whole lot. Being a female in the blues is you gotta have patience, especially with your counterparts, because they'll either think that you're ignorant or they think that you're passive aggressive. I try to stay calm. I try not to get too excited about anything. Get too high or get too low, because these males will tell you that you're on something. You're on some type of female thing. So I try not to get too excited. I love doing songs from the 1920s simply because that was the first era that black folks came into their own. They had their own voice. They didn't have someone directing them or prodding them into any position whatsoever. They had a chance to speak their own minds. It's the same era that Black Wall Street I got up and running. And it just seemed like the energy during the 20s was the independent energy, the energy that you had your own mindset and that you were going to speak on it. And a lot of the music from that era and really inspires me. We come from greatness. We didn't start in this world as slaves. We started in this world as free Africans, and we had our political systems, our own religion, our own spirituality that had nothing to do with Christ or Western anything. So I take a lot of pride in that. And I definitely believe in the fact that I stand on the shoulders of my ancestors, spiritually as well. Asara Set Haru. That's my Holy Trinity. I believe that there's always been musicians in my family. Going back to Africa, I believe I stand on the shoulders of many great musicians. And that's why it runs through my veins right now. I was very much a nonconformist. I didn't like standing up for the national anthem. And that was in 1967, when I was 7 years old. I wasn't having it. I wasn't having it. And I don't even know why. But I was a nonconformist from way back. I felt like everything that I was, society was against. From the nappy hair that I had, the fact that I didn't want to get it straightened, it hurt. Burn your ears, a straightened combs would burn your ears, a lie would burn your ears. I didn't want to have my hair straightened. I didn't want to be a young girl with blonde hair and blue eyes. I wanted to be me. And all society was telling me was something else. Well, that made me a nonconformist. If that girl hadn't challenged me and challenged my intellect, I would have never picked up the bass. But since she told me that's something I could not do as a black person, I looked at her right in her face and said, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And 50 years later, I gotta thank her, because I've gone all over the world. I've gone to Holland, I've gone to Brazil, I've traveled around the United States. It's like, thanks. I appreciate you. Yeah, tell me what else I can do. Because I realized if I had dedication and I had a little discipline, I could get better. I could get better at it. It was up to me how good I got at it. And that just thrilled the daylights out of me because it wasn't up to somebody else. It was up to me and how much I how much energy I put into it. I love putting energy into it. As long as I'm breathing, I can get better. As long as I want to learn and expand my knowledge and sound better. I'd like to thank the Blues Museum for giving me this platform and let me get my little opinion off.